Hello to my Monday night crew. What is up, ladies? Happy Monday. Happy first Monday of the new year, 2025. Hello, fam in the chat. We got in the chat tonight. Oh, by the way, I always forget to say sometimes. For anybody new here, hello. My name is Natalie, the Keto Bikini Pro. Always got to do the flex with that. Got my carnivore bar eat meat crop on tonight. My favorite thing. What is going on? We got Lisa on tonight. Hi, Lisa. We've got Debbie, Purple Lovin' Nana. We've got Diane is on tonight. Hey, Diane. Karen, Bubbles Has Rules, kicking it with us. Jody is on. Jujubee. Juliana is on. Hey, ladies. Who else got a snowstorm over the last 24 hours? Really, I guess it was last night after midnight for us. I know Juliana got it because she's a hop, skip, and a jump from where we are. Did the whole East Coast get it? I'm curious. I'm sure, I don't think the West Coast got it, but I wonder about the rest of the East Coast. On the South, did the South get anything? Hey, Tona, what is going on? Karen got it. She said, me. Yep. So today was a snow day for us. Bronson was home from the office. It was a chill Monday. Well, not so much of a chill Monday for me over here because it's been a busy new year. So I don't know about y'all, but my new year started with a bang. For those of you who in Keto Bikini land, it may have started with a bang for you too, because yesterday we did the kickoff call for the Grace and Grind Challenge. Today, the brand new Academy training program started. So yesterday was a busy day for me. Loading the training for everybody and doing the intro video and all that good stuff. So it's been a very busy Monday. All good. It's a good problem to have. So I'm not complaining at all. No snow in Wisconsin. Wait, was that Wisconsin, Debbie? Since before Christmas, just mounds not melting since it's been below freezing and then some. Yikes, I do not envy you. I am happy to sit in our apartment in the sky and look out at the beautiful snow and not go out in it. We have kept ourselves inside all day. Tona said, beautiful snow today. Yay. I love to look at it. It's beautiful to look at. Okay, so it is January. So of course, we have to talk about New Year's. We have to talk about the New Year's resolutions, the goal setting, the intentions, the habits that we are trying to crush this year. I was going to re-release an old masterclass tonight. I did a masterclass 2 years ago, first masterclass of the year that was about getting back on track. And I actually tried to schedule it to go live as a live premiere tonight where we could chat. Y'all have probably, if you've been around, you've seen me do that before, where I re-release an old video that had never been a public YouTube video, because most of the first year that I did masterclasses, everything was unlisted on YouTube and it was posted just inside the Facebook group or just for clients. So I have still a bunch of those that have never gone public on YouTube. So that particular one, how to get back on track, it was not public on YouTube. I tried to make it a live instant premiere that we could be on in the chat together tonight. But then something happened and it took it away, and it did not give me the option to do the live premiere. So Karen said, I saw it posted 4 hours ago. Yes. So I love it, y'all. Y'all just affirm me. I love my tribe. Y'all are like, I saw it. I know it. I see what's going on your YouTube. I love y'all. Juliana said, I saw it. It said it was set to private. Yeah. So I was messing around with it, trying to set it as a premiere. And then we were messing around with the settings. Bronson was trying to help me fix whatever was wrong on my YouTube with what I was trying to do with it, because I set it to a premiere, it worked, and then I couldn't find the video again, and I didn't see any. I was like, is it notifying people? Normally it will notify me. So Debbie too, she said, I saw it and confused me. Okay, so y'all are helping me answer the question, did my subscribers see it? So did it give y'all a notification when I made those changes? Because yeah, so ultimately what ended up happening was that it set it to a premiere and then it took it off and made it private again. So then I just made it public. So it should be public now, but there's no premiere and there was no like promotion of it. So what I'm going to do is after this live, I'm going to put the link to that one in the description of this one. And I'm also going to drop it in the Facebook group, on Instagram. I'm going to just post it on the socials. So y'all can go back and watch that one because I think it'll be really helpful for anyone who is trying to quote unquote get back on the wagon this month. So, okay, Juliana said it said you were live or a premiere. I can't remember. I was defrosting from the cold. Okay, so yeah, some weird thing happened. I don't know what, but at any rate, it is now live on my YouTube. I mean, not live. It is now public on my YouTube. So it will be searchable. It will be findable on my channel. So I'm going to go ahead and post it in the Facebook group so everybody can find it and use it. Another thing I'm working on doing for the Grace and Grind Challenge, and anyone in the Facebook group will also be able to just take the Grace and Grind Challenge guide. Even if you're not participating in the challenge, you can grab the guide. So I'm working on the guide right now. It should be out hopefully tomorrow, with all of the worksheets from the live kickoff that we did yesterday with the visioning workshop. I gave you a few little pieces of homework to work on this week as you're working on your commitments for the challenge. So I am putting together a little workbook, let's call it, guidebook, with all of the worksheets and then all of the simple prompts for what to do during the challenge. So in there, I am going to put, I looked up a bunch of my old master classes that were pertinent to what we're talking about in the challenge. So I will have a list of some of the most powerful mindset master classes and habits master classes that relate to the habit refresh that we're doing for the challenge. And that will be in the challenge guide. So that'll be a page in the guide with just all the links to all those master classes. And that will be one of them for sure. So all that to say, that's coming as well. So that'll be a great little companion for you to use. So I did not want this masterclass to be a complete repeat of that. So instead, I have been wanting to do a class for those who are not in a place where you want to be, tracking every gram of food you eat, tracking macros, trying to hit macros, following a very structured, specific workout training plan, all of those kind of things we think of when we think about following a diet or exercise program, right? I wanted this masterclass to be a what can you do before tracking, without all of the nitty gritty, without all of the in-depth, complex plans, okay? I want this to be a very simple, so if you saw the thumbnail and the title, Jumpstart Your Year, Simple Habits for Massive Results. So what can you do? What are my top tips? And I put together a list, I believe, of 10. Yes, my top 10 simple habits that when you master these habits, they will lead to massive results over time. And that's the key piece, the over time piece, because everybody wants the quick fix that's going to get them to lose 5 pounds in 1 week, 20 pounds in a month. But those things are usually not sustainable. When you are able to lose a lot of weight really quickly, how many have been there? You end up putting it on, putting it back on, and then some, even quicker than you took it off. And then you got to do the whole thing over and over and over again. And that's what I see every new year in my industry. It's just a constant rechurning of I was on track until I wasn't. And then the holidays, And now I'm back up 50 pounds and now I've got to take it off again. Oh my gosh, you didn't do this. I just did this. By saying that, I just reminded myself of another masterclass that I thought of. And I could not find this idea. I knew I'd written down a few ideas for masterclasses and I'd forgotten this particular one. But this is going to be a powerful mindset masterclass that will come up later, maybe this month. Are you addicted to the struggle? I've talked about being addicted to stress before. I did a stress masterclass, but this particular one hit me like a ton of bricks the other day. This constant yo-yoing of having to go back on the diet and back on the diet and back on the diet, losing and gaining the same 20, 50, some people 80 or 100 pounds. Are you addicted to the struggle? So I've got that in the works. It's very, very similar to the self-sabotage conversation, which I do have a masterclass on self-sabotage. But this concept of, I'm just going to drop this little breadcrumb for that future masterclass, but the concept of that masterclass, the whole idea is just imagine what your life could be like if you never had to think about losing the weight ever again. But there's something in there. You keep putting it back on and then taking it back off, and it's taking up a lot of your real estate in your life. It's taking up real estate, it's taking up brain space, it's taking up energy that you could be doing other things. You could be living your purpose in this world. You could be accomplishing so much more in your life than just losing and gaining weight over and over again. So we're going to talk about that in a future masterclass. That's not tonight. However, let's get into the practical stuff, because tonight I wanted to do practical. I talk about masterclass, talk about mindset all the time. I'm always harping on y'all about leaning in and doing the hard inner work that's really going to make the change that you're trying to accomplish in your life, whether it's fat loss or muscle building or improved health or any other area of your life. It really is always, it comes down to the mindset. And some of this will relate to mindset, but really what I wanted tonight was simple 10 tips, habits, where if you master these things, and some of these things are teeny tiny little habits, teeny tiny little things that you can shift, that if you shift your habits and make these autopilot in your life, fat loss will be effortless. Living in your optimal, healthy, fit body will be effortless. So let's talk about habits and let's talk about simplifying without all the weighing your food and tracking and dialing everything into the letter, but just some simple things to move the needle. So this is especially for my people that I talked about on a couple of masterclasses ago. I did 2 masterclasses on tracking in December. I did one about why you should track and why I think everyone should track at least for a certain period of time in their lives. And then I did a follow-up to that on how tracking and why tracking is actually freeing and liberating. It's freedom. It is not restriction. Because the thing that holds, I think, a lot of people back from wanting to track their food is that they feel restricted by it. And I always like to say that restriction is in the mind. There's no diet that is restrictive. There's nothing that's restrictive. It's what we consider to be restrictive. Okay. So I gotta just shout out Milady Laugh a Lot, who says, didn't get to talk to you much at KPL, but I'm seeing my mistake. Glad we'll be on the low carb cruise together. Yay. I'm so excited. I am so excited about the low carb cruise, y'all. I've always wanted to go to Alaska. I absolutely love the low carb cruise people. It is just such a great group of people. So plug for the low carb cruise. in June. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, look up lowcarbcruise.com or just Google low carb cruise and it will pop up. But we are going to Alaska out of Seattle this year. So excited about that. Lisa's going too. Yes. Oh my gosh, we will definitely get a KBB workout on the calendar for the cruise. We did that last year with all of the KBB tribe that were attending the cruise. So we'll do that again this year for sure. And if we can coordinate a dinner night that is not like a typical night, or maybe a lunch or even a brunch or a breakfast or something, I want to spend more time with my squad on that ship. So we will be coordinating as the dates get closer. Yes, Debbie will be there too. Woohoo! I'm so geeked about that. All right, so that's like the 5 months countdown, right? 6-ish, a little under 6 months now. So, habits. Juliana actually guessed one of them earlier. Stop snacking. That one just might be on the list. So, I always like to say, especially for people who are either just getting started on their journey, just getting back to their journey. So all the people I was talking about before, if you're now trying to get back on track, as I talked about on that other masterclass, this is going to be a great list for you. Regardless, and this is something you can share with your friends, because regardless of whether you are low carb, keto, carnivore, or standard American diet, these things are going to apply to everyone. So this is not keto specific, low carb specific. These tips are things anybody can do following any diet, no matter where you're starting from. So we are talking about what I call the low-hanging fruit. The things you can look at the tree, grab the fruit that you can reach instead of having to climb to the top and do a whole lot of extra work. So these things are simple. They're not always easy, because here's the thing. New habits feel difficult because they're new. So even though this is not a mindset class, getting your head around doing something new and different is going to be the key to all of that. So if you are not in my Facebook group and you are not yet confirmed to participate in the Grace and Grind Challenge, I highly encourage you to dive in. The Facebook group is called Keto Bikini Secrets, same as YouTube, same as the name on YouTube. And it is free, it is private, and the challenge is free. So dive in there. We'll be talking and helping each other a lot more about establishing habits. So all of these, any of these 10 things could feel like the hardest thing in the world to you because you're not doing it now, or because you may have never even thought about doing it. Here's my advice to you, and this is the same advice I gave in the Grace and Grind Challenge. We're focusing on 4 areas of health over there. I said to pick one thing, one habit that you're going to work on each of those 4 areas, so that you're not working on everything at the same time. So I'm going to give you 10 simple habit, low-hanging fruit things that you can choose from. What I would do if I were you, and this could even apply to my advanced people who are already training consistently multiple times a week, have been doing it for years, are advanced lifters or athletes. There are going to be things on this list that you are not doing now or may have never done. Certainly may just not be doing them right now. Some of these are going to feel harder for you than others. What you need to assess is your willingness, your readiness, willingness, and ability to do any of these things. Do not try to do all 10 of them at the same time. Pick, what I would suggest is, if there is one that you are just like, oh, this is not the time to lean into the hardest one. Okay, unless you're in a position where you are really seeking a challenge, more of a challenge. But this is more for my people who are just having a hard time doing anything for their health. doing anything, taking that first step, I want you to think about the thing that I mentioned here that seems like the easiest thing for you to implement. Work on that one thing first. And then once that has become an established habit that you can do on autopilot, then you work on adding the next thing in. Okay? So that's the way to think about this list of 10. All right, let's dive in. I'm actually going to start with the most important first. And you might be surprised to hear that my number one habit that will lead to massive results is not nutrition related. It is not fitness related. It is not about moving your body. It is not about what you're eating or not eating. It is your bedtime routine. Why am I starting with bedtime and not morning? Because, spoiler alert, number 2 is going to be your morning routine. But why am I starting with bedtime routine? Because if I were to start with morning routine, how many of you would struggle with establishing a new morning routine if you don't already have an evening routine? If you're going to bed at a different time every night, if you have a hard time getting to sleep before midnight, how good are you going to be at establishing whatever that new morning routine is? It is going to be 10 times harder to do anything well in the morning if you don't have your night before dialed in. So in my opinion, it all starts with the night before the morning. So as we're thinking about where our day starts, if you just imagine, just think about this. My day begins the night before. There's an affirmation for you. There's a mantra for you, Juliana. Yeah, we are aligned because she's focusing on this for her Grace and Grind challenge. It all starts with your bedtime routine. And this is also always the thing. Sleep. You are all telling me, yep, you all knew. Rest, sleep, yep. This is the thing between sleep and stress. Those are the two that I always find women put off. They want a workout plan. They want macros. They want to look at everything else before they look at their sleep or their stress. Because there's this mentality that I can't do anything about it. I can't do anything about my sleep. I can't do anything about my stress. I sleep like crap. I'll sleep when I'm dead. I can't deal with my stress because I have to deal with everybody else's stress. Ooh, that's a topic for another time. But bedtime routine is what is truly going to determine your success the next day. I love it. Ada says, I have my nighttime routine down. Yes. And y'all, this might need a little massaging. I'm not going to give you my $1 million morning routine or my $1 million bedtime routine that everybody should do. Because as I always teach you, everything is individual and we need to determine what works best for us. 2 different people might have 2 completely different bedtime routines, and each one of those individuals might have the perfect routine that works for them. For you, you need to step back and assess, what does that need to look like for me? So you determine what your evening bedtime routine needs to be. Happy to give you some suggestions and just some general healthy habits that will generally help to improve sleep for most people. That you could incorporate into your evening routine. The most important one, and especially for our circadian health, that cortisol buzzword we always hear, which a masterclass is going to come up on that because it has been requested. Juliana, I love you. Who remembers the mantra she just gave me? Oh my goodness. I love it. That's hilarious. It was something like a successful day begins the night before. A successful day begins the night before. I'm going to say that's what it was. It was something along those lines. So yeah, for improved sleep, generally, basic guidelines would be establish a time that you are going to go to bed, go to sleep, start winding down. So you back up, you reverse engineer. First, establish to get a good quality minimum 7 hours of sleep a night, ideally 8 or even more, because you need to determine for yourself. But usually women actually need a little bit more than our male counterparts. So allocating an 8-hour time frame from the time that you are in REM sleep, not the moment you step into bed. Okay, because it's going to take a little time to fall asleep after you get in bed. So reverse engineer and determine what is going to be my cutoff for electronics, what is going to be my cutoff for my last meal. If you have kids, husbands, things going on in your household, establish the times, the curfews for when these things need to shut down so that you can back that time up and know, what am I doing between this time and this time that I need to be in bed? And then give yourself at least a 20 to 30 minute buffer from the moment that you get into that bed, knowing that it's going to take you a little bit of time to fall asleep. And if you fall asleep immediately, because some nights you will, great, that's bonus. But that would be the ideal thing, would be to establish a nighttime, a bedtime that is the same every night. And I know how tricky this can be when you have schedules that are different, let's say on the weekends. But weekend sleep debt can actually become an issue with your circadian health. So doing the same thing every day for 7 days, not 5 days, and then changing what you do on the weekends would be ideal. So we're talking about ideal for your health. Work out what works best for you. So timeline, curfew, allocating the hours, and giving yourself that hard stop. Shutting down the blue lights, which it's 7:30 over here. I still can't believe how dark it is so early around here. But shutting down the blue lights, maybe getting some blue blockers. I know I have a pair somewhere and I have lost them. So that might be something I start doing this year. Find my blue blockers. So light is huge. So timing, light, going to bed in a cold room, dark room, getting some blackout curtains could be part of your bedtime routine, making sure that lights are out, or if you have red bulbs, or if you have blue light blockers or things like that to shift the light. And then what you do to wind down. Are you used to watching TV until a certain time and then going right to bed? That's probably not going to be great for your sleep hygiene. So maybe it's a physical book, maybe reading a physical book, maybe reading, if you read on your phone, maybe you change the light settings on your phone or wear blue blockers while you're reading on your phone. So establish for you what that is. Maybe it's a hot shower before bed. Maybe you have a hot electrolyte drink before bed or a hot tea. Maybe you do your meditation or your prayer or journaling before bed, but determining what your bedtime routine looks like and then establishing that as your habit. So that's number one. I'm going to try not to spend too much time on all of these because we're already 30 minutes in and I've only gotten to number one. All right, so number two is your morning routine. So almost as equally important as your nighttime routine is your morning routine. How are you spending the first hour of your day? Maybe the first 2 hours of your day. I would look at, and this is always the way I recommend starting any new habit, is to assess what you're already doing. If you can think back over the last few days and write down, okay, how did I spend my first 2 hours? And if you're like, I don't know, it was a shit show, I don't know what was going on around here, then make a note to tomorrow observe what you're doing in the first 2 hours of your day and how long those things take you. So do that, maybe do that for a whole week or just a few days and start to establish, what am I currently doing in my morning? What, if somebody else was watching me and writing down everything I did, what would my morning routine look like to them? And then take a look at that and say, well, how is this serving me? Is this helping me? Is everything that I'm doing in the morning, is it beneficial or is it not beneficial? My whole life changed when I stopped getting up late to go to work and rushing around to get ready and running out the door and then getting into the office and giving my energy away to everybody else all day. And instead, I backed up my morning, I gave myself time, and my first 2 hours of the day were for me. Now, probably 30 minutes of that was just brushing my teeth and, when I was still working outside the home, doing my hair and my makeup and getting dressed and all of that, right? But that's part of it too, all of this. Assess what you're doing. Are you doing anything for yourself in the first 2 hours of the day? I personally, and this is what I shared in the Grace and Grind Challenge, one of the things that will be priority for me again, because I started to let it slip, was my meditation time. I set my watch, my Apple Watch, for breathing for 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. I usually sit there for longer, but at least 5 minutes. I set the little breathe thing so it gives me the pulse, and I just sit there and breathe. I read my devotional. Sometimes I'll journal. Usually this is where creative thoughts come up. So I may come up with things that I want to post. You probably see a lot of my morning posts on Instagram if you follow me on there. In my stories, that's where I might post. I generally find something on my Instagram that is inspirational and I share it in my stories. So that's my time. I love to have that time in the morning. But it has been fewer and farther between as things have gotten busy. And so that will be a priority for me again. So what does my morning routine look like and how can I set up my day for success? Some other things I do in my morning routine that are now autopilot that a lot of clients struggle with when they first start working with me. And that is, I personally I started testing my blood glucose and my ketones. I haven't done that in years, but I started doing it with my this last prep. So I'm still doing that right now. I still get up. One of the first things I do, go to the bathroom. I take my blood glucose and my ketones with my meter, do the finger prick. I step on my in-body scale and I weigh myself and I log my weight and body composition. And then brush my teeth, wash my face, get ready for the morning, come out, make my coffee, fill my water, take my morning supplements, and that's when I have my meditation time. So that's what my morning looks like. And usually while I'm doing all that, I will have a podcast episode or an inspirational or affirmation audio or something that I'm listening to that's bringing positive energy into my day or helping me learn something or helping me up level in some way. So bedtime routine, number 1, morning routine, number 2. Number 3 is water consumption. And this goes along with the morning routine. Some of these things you can really anchor together. Habit stacking, like I said, I do my blood glucose and my ketones and my in-body body composition, while I'm still in the bathroom, brushing my teeth and doing all of that. So it's very much ingrained. It's stacked with those other habits. It's not something I ever forget to do because it's in there and it's just what I do with all those other habits. Water consumption is another one. While my morning coffee is brewing, I mix in my glutamine and my creatine that I put in my water in the morning. I take my morning supplements and I drink probably about at least half of my 20-ounce bottle. So it's pretty important to me that I get a good amount of water in before I have my coffee. So I'm hydrating first thing in the morning. Bubbles, I love this. She says, I love my morning peace, coffee chat with Harry and my twig tree lights. Oh, so beautiful. I love that you have that. I love that you have that. So hydration. Here's another huge thing. This is something that a lot of people, when they sign up for a competition prep and they start working with a coach, it's one of the things that they're going to hear, or even a trainer, drink more water, right? Why is this always on the list of things to do when you're working with a coach or a trainer? Why is it so healthy, right? Well, we know we need to be hydrated. It's good for hydration, obviously, to keep ourselves hydrated. But there's so many other benefits that come along with drinking water. It's going to keep you from drinking high calorie, high sugar, junk beverages. So if you have a water goal, if you set yourself a goal of drinking a certain amount of water, a certain number of water bottles a day, you are much less likely to consume caffeinated beverages all day, coffee all day, soda all day, juices, anything else. And that alone, even if all you're on a fat loss, weight loss journey, you're not doing anything else different. You just committed to drinking 64 ounces of water a day, for example. That may not be ideal for you. My personal goal is 100 ounces a day. For a long time, it was 80 ounces a day. So depending on where you are, I have had clients come to me not drinking any water and only drinking coffee all day. So their goal would be 16 ounces. Start somewhere. So water consumption, massively huge. Not only that, it keeps you from being hungry all day. It keeps you from snacking all day. It's just one of those things where when you prioritize water and hydration, not only does it have a ton of physiological benefits in your body, from your brain function to literally every function of your body, water is a massive part, is a massive percentage of our bodies. So when we are more hydrated, we are able to think better, perform better, feel better in every way. I love it. Lisa said, Hub said he wanted a snack and I told him he was bored. Go drink something. Yes. And it will fill your stomach. If you do sparkling waters, it will fill you up for a while. So if you are struggling with hunger and you're trying not to eat everything, and it really is actual hunger, that's another little tip and trick that I use when I'm on a cut. I will drink carbonated waters or sparkling waters. I don't do that most of the time. I'm not doing that right now, but I do it when I'm on a cut usually. So that's number 3. Number 4, another prioritization tool in the nutrition area. As I said, this would apply to anyone, whether you're doing keto, carnivore, low carb, or not. Protein first. 9 times out of 10, anybody who comes to me who does not look the way they want to look, has excess body fat, is under muscled, combination of the two, high body fat percentage. I'll just say 10 times out of 10. If I were to look at what they're eating in a week, I can guarantee you their carbs and fats are high and their protein is low. 100% of the time. Or maybe their carbs are high and their fats and proteins are low. Or maybe the fat is high and the carbs and protein is low. But I can guarantee you that nobody ever comes to me eating high protein and managing their carbs and fats and they're overweight or over body fat. It don't happen that way. Because if you're prioritizing protein first, you're not going to eat as much junk, just like the water. You're not going to be eating as much junk. You're not going to eat as many carbs and fats if you're eating your protein as the priority. Protein is the building block of the body, so it is what builds the muscle, it is what maintains our tissues, and it is the least likely to be stored as body fat because it's not a fuel source. So the way to prioritize protein without needing to have a protein gram goal and tracking everything you eat is just to make sure that every time you eat, you are building your meals around a quality protein source. The meal should be built around protein. And that's always the way it was growing up in my household. It was always whatever we were doing, the chicken with the sides, the meatloaf with the sides, the taco night. was based around the ground beef and then the rest of the tacos, whatever it was. It was always, there's the meat and then there's the sides, right? So you build your meals around a protein source. Prioritize, when you are eating your meals, prioritize the protein on your plate before the sides and the extras. So if you're out at a lunch, and let's say you're eating standard American diet and you get a sandwich and it has some meat and cheese on there, and that's where most of your protein is coming from. And then you also maybe have some chips on the side or like some fruit on the side or all of that. Don't eat the chips and the fruit and save the, maybe, oh, then I'm too full to finish my sandwich. Finish the protein heavy portion of the meal. If you're going to leave anything on the plate, leave the potatoes, leave the French fries, right? But most of the time, what happens when you go out and you're eating something that has fries or chips on the side? You're eating all the chips and the fries first. So, and like I said, this is really going to apply to a lot of the people who are not even taking those first steps yet. So wherever you are in your journey, prioritizing protein, eating it first in the meal and building every meal around it. That is also going to lead into our next point. And I was going to say also, especially for breakfast, something especially I always see with women, they're either skipping breakfast, or if they're eating protein at breakfast, it's in the form of 1 or 2 eggs, and that's it. And something I see in the keto and carnivore space a lot is bacon and sausage with maybe a couple of eggs, but all that combined is still super, super high fat, but doesn't have the total amount of protein that you want in a meal, enough protein to really drive that muscle protein synthesis that we need to maintain and build muscle throughout the day. So if you've been skipping breakfast, my ladies, I did not put this as a separate item on the list, but I probably should have. So this would be the bonus habit, and that would be eating breakfast. And I know that a lot of ladies say, oh my gosh, but when I eat breakfast, the floodgates open. I'm hungry all day and then I want to eat all day. That's because your metabolism is doing its job. And you are teaching it by eating early in the day that we want energy at this time of the day. Most of the time when ladies are coming to me and they are snacking and binging at night, it is also the day that they happen to not eat until afternoon. That happens because you're not getting all the essential nutrients, you're not getting the protein you need, and you're not getting all the micronutrition that you need early enough in the day, and now your body is craving things. And usually it's not healthy things. So I promise you, ladies, if you're scared to eat breakfast and eat a big breakfast, I promise you, and I would push you to even eat a larger breakfast than you think you need. Because if you say, well, when I eat breakfast in the morning, I'm hungry all day, it's probably because you're not eating enough at breakfast. Because you have this fear of eating too much. But I guarantee you it is backfiring on you. So if you're going to do intermittent fasting, make breakfast early in the day, before noon, ideally around 10 a.m. or before even. Make that the priority and back up your last meal, which will also help with sleep and that bedtime routine. So, number 4 was prioritize protein first. Number 5 is eat meals, not snacks. Anybody following any diet, if they listened to this advice and just did this one habit, leaned into not grazing. Stop grazing and start eating. If you're looking for something, you are either hungry because you didn't eat enough at your last meal, or you didn't eat a meal for breakfast, or, as Lisa said, you're bored. There's some other reason why you're looking for food. So 9 times out of 10, whatever reason you're snacking is unnecessary to snack. Ask yourself, when you find yourself getting up and looking in the fridge or the pantry, which we all do, unconsciously. You'll just find yourself just opening the pantry and looking, right? Ask yourself, okay, what do I have that's real food that I could sit down and put together as a meal right now? You probably have something, whatever that may be. If you're not willing to do that, then you need to not be willing to grab whatever snack you were getting ready to eat. If you are not okay with sitting down with a plate of food and having a meal, then you have no business eating at that point in time. And my little trick to the am I really physically stomach hungry is always, I usually ask myself, would I eat cold, dry, grilled chicken breast right now by itself? If the answer is no, then I'm not really hungry. Because when I'm hungry, I would go to town on some chicken breast. But if I'm not hungry, that does not sound appetizing to me. And that is why people do things like the sardine fast. If you wouldn't eat sardines right now, you're not really hungry. But guess what? You can do the same thing by asking yourself that question without actually having to do a sardine fast. You're not going to find me doing a sardine fast. No, thank you. Okay, so meals over snacks. Think about it like this. Even the least healthy meal that you could eat is generally still going to be healthier than the healthiest snack you could eat most of the time. Most snack foods are not in the realm of health. And it's funny, Juliana said no girl dinners. So here's something you could ask yourself, and here's a technique or a strategy I've used. I've created what could be considered a girl dinner, although really I still think it's more of a meal, but mini meals. Because a lot of the time for lunch, in between breakfast and dinner, I don't want a large meal. I want something when I'm getting hungry. And usually for me, it'll be, oh, I need to go to the gym in an hour or 30 minutes. And I'm already getting hungry. So if I don't eat something now and I go to the gym, I'm going to be starving and then I'm going to want to skip my workout. So what I'll do is when I realize I'm getting hungry, that's when I will say, okay, well, if I don't want to have a large meal, what could I do to put together a meal? So what I would do is usually some smoked salmon. I usually keep smoked salmon in the fridge. Sometimes I'll have hard-boiled eggs on hand, deli turkey or deli chicken. Sometimes I'll have egg life wraps. So then I can make myself a little deli turkey or chicken wrap on an egg life wrap with some mayo, mustard, a side of smoked salmon, and then I might do some olives or some pickles with it. Boom. Not quite a girl dinner. I would definitely call that more of a lunch, right? But it's not a large meal. It's not something that I'm going to be stuffed afterwards, right? So usually my breakfast and my dinner are my larger meals, and my lunch is a mini meal. But it's the snacking usually that gets us in trouble, especially the nighttime snacking. So if there are things that you're having a hard time letting go of that are snack foods or desserts or things of that nature, here's a step you could take in the right direction. Just tack it on to the end of your meal. Incorporate it into your meal. If you are tracking your macros, weigh it out and plan it with your meal, have it with your meal, and now you're combining and you're having it alongside your meal so that you still have this one bolus of protein with your carbs and or fats or carbs or both, depending on what you're doing there. And you're not then eating again every 30 minutes in the day. And yes, really, really key here, no snacks, insulin spike. Yes. Another huge component to our health, even more so than our body composition, is this constant blood sugar roller coaster that we're putting ourselves on when we're having, we're eating again and again and again. And the reason why so many people go keto or carnivore is because it manages that insulin to where it manages your blood sugar so that your blood glucose is not spiking and dropping and then requiring more insulin. And then you have your blood glucose and your insulin doing this all day, but it's more of a gradual rise and a decline not a spike and a drop. We're going to have our blood glucose increase when we consume anything, despite what you may have been told. Even pure fat, you're still going to get something. Basically, when we are ingesting nutrients and we're asking our body to digest them, we are going to have a small blood glucose increase. But it should not be spiking and dropping. We don't want that. That's what causes those reactive hypoglycemia episodes. So all that to say, meals over snacks. When you find yourself wanting to snack, ask yourself, what could I put together for a meal? All right, habit number 6, moving on from the nutrition side of things and getting into physical wellness, our fitness, daily activity. And this is always where I start with anybody new in the academy. Before we even assign the new training program, the first thing I'm going to tell you to do is start taking stock, logging, tracking, becoming aware of your daily activity. So assess how often you are getting up and moving throughout your day. How active are you throughout your day? If you have a wearable, start to pay attention to your step count. But in general, pay attention to your daily movement. And the first step before jumping into this gym 6 times a week, because you got to get the fat off right away, simply committing to increasing your daily activity. Assess your current level and then set a small goal to increase it. It's a big thing that we do in the academy a lot. Oh, I've noticed I'm only walking, I only get about 3,500 steps a day. The first thing I would say is get to 4,000 a day or 5,000 a day, however you want to. And something I mentioned on our coffee chat the other day, I would rather you get up multiple times throughout the day and just do a lap or jump up and down or do some stretches or walk up and down some stairs than schedule in a 30-minute cardio session, because you're going to be more likely to still be able to walk upstairs when you're 80 if you incorporate it as a habit into your life. So this is where we're talking about the low-hanging fruit habits, that if you change these habits, becoming healthy and fit and staying that way will just be automatic and effortless, okay? So if you don't want to track, a great way to hold yourself accountable to increasing your activity is to set alarms on your phone to go off once an hour, saying, get up and move. And then just take a lap around your house. You can do some air squats. You can do some, jump up and down, dance around, whatever it might be. Do a dance break once an hour. Another great way to do this is just to become more mindful of all of the opportunities that you have to take the stairs instead of the elevator, to park farther away in a parking lot. I never park close to the front of a parking lot. My personal preference is to park close to the front, but farther out to the sides. I don't like to be in like the crazy middle lanes where everybody is parking. So I usually will go farther out to the sides, but a little bit closer to the front. That way I always get my steps and I'm not as close to other cars. I like to park further away from everybody else. So just find those opportunities to increase your activity and your movement in your day-to-day activities. That's the kind of thing that just becomes habit, and then you don't even have to think about it, and you are now a healthier person. I talked the other day on our coffee chat about NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is all of the movement that we do in our day. Me talking with my hands on this video because I'm Italian and expressive. This is adding to my metabolic rate, my daily, what my metabolism is doing, how well my metabolism is functioning. And that NEAT, that non-exercise activity, is more powerful for fat loss than your exercise is. It's proven. Okay, so it's one of the things that we do in contest prep. When we're in a cut, we're mindful of making sure we are not sedentary all day, because when you are stepping up, and this is a big thing to understand, when you are stepping up your game in the gym, you're doing a new training program, you're starting to do cardio, whatever it might be, you may not notice it, but your body, your brain will recognize that you are expending more energy. And so it is going to try to conserve energy in the rest of your day and the rest of your life. So you may find that you feel tired, you feel less likely, less interested in getting up to throw that piece of trash away or to go to the bathroom or whatever it might be. You're going to find yourself putting it off. So you have to become aware and mindful of that and push yourself to get up multiple times throughout the day. Okay. Number 7, lucky number 7, my favorite, strength training, resistance training of any kind. So for my people who are literally starting from scratch, we are talking about body weight movements. You do not need a gym membership. You do not need any equipment. You do not even need a program to follow, although I would love to give you one in the academy. That's what we do there. I love programming. We just, like I said, started our new program today. But you can do air squats. You can do body weight squats. You can do body weight lunges, even holding onto the wall, especially for my ladies who struggle with your knees. Hold onto the wall and you can do lunges. You can do planks. You can do twisting kind of things. You can literally pick things up and put them down. Your kids, your pets, heavy book bag. You can put a heavy book bag on and just wear it throughout the day while you're doing your housework. That is called rucking. That is the kind of thing where if you put on a heavy pack and you went and hiked, they would call that rucking. You can ruck in your everyday life. Put something heavy on. Ladies with little kids, when your kid is on your hip, guess what? You're rucking. You are doing resistance training. You are holding your child while you move around. That is resistance, something your body has to resist, right? Lifting things over your head. These are the things that we're doing when we're training in the gym. You can do it around your house. Find household things that you can pick up, cans that you can do some curls with. We were on the elevator with a guy the other day and he had his grocery bags and he was doing curls with them. He said, "This is all I'm going to get today." Be creative. Okay, so if you are not currently resistance training, consider what you could incorporate even daily. Doing some of these things daily is not going to be a problem. If you're doing an intense training program, that's when I say you need to have rest days in between there. But if we're just talking about adding some things into your life that are more resistance, require your body to do more so that it can adapt and get stronger, those things, you can do that every day. You may feel sore at first, but those are the kinds of things that if you establish that as a habit, and now you are a person who lifts heavy things in your day-to-day life, you're going to be an 85-year-old that can lift heavy things in your day-to-day life. Juliana says a gallon of milk weighs 8 pounds. And she's a great example of this. She's the one that people go to when she's out and about and they need help carrying things. Now they're asking her for help because she's strong. So that's the way we want it to be. Don't say, I can't do it because I don't have a set of dumbbells, or I don't have a home gym set up, or I don't have a program to follow. Bronson mentioned this on our coffee chat the other day, but he has a free program. He has a free gym machines program. So if you're brand new and you want to go into the gym and just use the machines, that's a great place to start if you don't have any idea what to do, because you can literally go into the gym, go to the circuit section. They have all those machines, and the machines have the instructions on them, and you can literally follow it, and it will put you in the position you need to be in. It's not as challenging as learning free weight exercises and having to make sure that you are lifting with proper form and all of that kind of thing. So Yes, shoveling the snow today and tomorrow. There you go. Exactly that. It's the mindset shift of not doing something because it's hard, or thinking about it as this is going to develop strength and fitness and it's going to make me more capable, and then leaning into doing those things. Okay. Number 8, and y'all, ladies, I know you're going to feel me on this. I got to take it off. I got to take it off. Want to guess why? The hot flashes, y'all. The hot flashes have started. Up until literally, it was today, maybe yesterday, but today is the first day. Here we are marking it in history. Monday, January 6th, 2025. My official first day full of hot flashes. It was only the night sweats up until now, but dude, Juliana, you are right there with me. Shut up. She said, same reason I just opened my windows and it's 29 outside. Damn it, I didn't even make it to 42, y'all, before this started. This is ridiculous. This is the year. HRT is on my list for the year. Ay, ay, ay. I love that. We call them power surges. Okay, I'm taking that. Warrior mindset. It's not a hot flash, it's a power surge. That's what I'm talking about. Reframe, baby. It is ridiculous. All right, so where was I? Number 8. Okay. Y'all ready for a challenge? Are y'all really ready for a challenge? Because this one is going to throw you. But I'll tell you what, this one right here, number 8, this was probably the biggest shift in my life that has completely opened up new levels. I don't even know how else to describe this. Make space. Create space in your life, in your calendar. What do I mean by that? First and foremost, calendar the things that are important to you. So, if you are establishing a new workout regimen, if it's not on the calendar, you don't intend to do it. Put it on the calendar, right? If you're like, if I'm going to have a successful week with my diet, I need to meal prep, but the meal prep time is not built into your calendar, you're not that serious. Show me your credit card bill and show me your calendar, and I will tell you what you care about. Because where you place your time and where you place your money, that's your priorities. Okay? So first things first, calendar what's important to you. If you're saying you have an intention to do something, is it on your calendar? If not, good luck with that. Secondly, when you are calendaring things, this is going to be a super challenging one for a lot of you. Single task. When I first heard that term single tasking, it had never crossed my mind before. I was a multitasker my entire life. And the truth is, I probably could have done everything better if I had not been doing so many things. Number one, overbooking myself and trying to do so many things at once. So I couldn't do anything really, really well. So plan to single task. Make dedicated time for each of those important things so that you can enhance your presence, your focus, and your productivity with each of those things. And if you are saying to yourself right now, there are not enough hours in the day for me to single task, then something has to go. Something has to go. One of the things that success coaches, business coaches always teach is trimming the fat. In order to be successful with something, you have to look at everything that is not serving that purpose and ask yourself, what can I cut out of the calendar, cut out of my life, cut out of the priority list to make dedicated time for this thing I'm trying to achieve? I've got more stuff on my calendar this year than last year, complete with live streams for my channel. Congrats. It's scheduled and on my calendar. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. If you care about it, it'll be on your calendar and it will have a buffer. So that gives us into the next point, which is in your calendaring, build in between time. In between, like I have to make sure I don't book 2 client calls right next to each other. There needs to be a buffer. Usually I'll do a good 30-minute buffer between client calls. I don't. Every once in a while, I might end up in a situation where it needs to be like a 15-minute buffer, but usually it'll be 30 minutes between things like calls, because they require more of my energy and my focus, and there's some pre-work and post-work usually that goes into client calls. Same thing with when I'm doing feedback videos for the academy, when I'm doing anything like these kinds of videos. Usually I'm not going to have something on my calendar immediately before and immediately after. Not only to allow myself the time to prepare for the thing and then to do whatever follow-up work is required from the thing, but allowing yourself to exhale. So many of the women, the moms out there, just running from one thing to the next without ever getting to just exhale, just have a few minutes to yourself to breathe and to think straight and to what just happened, to process. So no wonder you're finding yourself at the end of the night binging the bottom of a bag of potato chips or whatever it might be. Because now that is becoming your exhale moment. But instead of exhaling, you're inhaling a bunch of junk food because you did not fill yourself up all day. So when you are calendaring, build the in-between time. The calendaring, here's a really powerful first step with calendaring. And this is something I'm going to be doing because I mentioned on the Grace and Grind kickoff that one of my visions and goals for the year is to step into CEO energy and to scale my business and to really operate like a CEO. So to do that, I need to get really clear on how I'm spending my time and the time allocations that I'm making for things and blocking my time for particular work that needs to be done. So I'm going to be going through and doing a time audit, going through my calendar and actually plugging in, all you have to do is commit to doing this for a day or 2 days, or if you have really hectic schedule where 2 days don't look the same, you might want to do it for 3 or 4 days, but you commit to doing this and you observe for the whole day how you're spending your time and you block it down, kind of as it's going. Very similar to what I tell people before I set their macros. Or as they're getting into tracking their macros. I'm like, just eat, track what you're eating. Don't try to hit any numbers. And then let's see where your numbers land. Same thing with this calendar idea. How did I spend the first hour of my day? This is what I did from 7 to 8 or from 6 to 7 or from 8 to 9, and then go through the day and do that. So that's going to be my first step with the calendaring. Where can I improve is go ahead and plug in how all the waking hours of my day were spent, and then how could I spend them better? What would an ideal day look like for me, and sketching that out. Don't forget to also build in your own time. As you are filling that in, if you want that nighttime routine to stick, what am I doing in the last 2 hours of my night before bed? Do I need to make an appointment with myself to have that reading time or that pampering time or whatever it might be? Okay, so make space. Clear the clutter, trim the fat, remove the things that are in the way so that you can single task and you can have in between time to breathe, and you can build in your own time. As an entrepreneur, that was one of the first things I was taught with the coaches that I've worked with for business. I had to first establish what was going to make me the person that I could show up for the people that I'm serving in my business. And that is, what do I need to do for me? That needs to go on the calendar first, and then I build everything else around it. Because if I don't take that time for me, you're not getting the best of me. My husband's not getting the best of me. The people I love in my life are not getting the best of me. Okay. All right. Number 9, check in regularly. If you're working with a coach or you're in a community like KBB, that might be checking in with your coach or community regularly. If not, check in with yourself or a trusted friend or advisor or therapist or whoever it might be. But ideally, regularly would mean daily or weekly or both. Once again, like all these other things, you determine what that check-in looks like, right? Inside Academy, it is weekly photos, measurements, daily weigh-ins with body composition, weekly check-in forms, weekly biofeedback review. A lot of the ladies are also doing daily biofeedback or some kind of an awareness of how they're feeling in that day. This can be structured tracking like what we do, or it can be informal. It can be journaling. It could be revisiting your goals and your progress, which is incredibly important. But the most important piece about the check-in, making it a regular habit, is that when you know you're going to be checking in with yourself or someone else, you are going to keep those goals and intentions front of mind more than you would if you knew nobody was ever going to know, or you weren't going to assess. I'm going to set these lofty goals and then I'm going to go about my life and I'll probably forget about them, but I'm not going to check in with myself anyway. So, see you next year, you're going to be much less likely to do it. This is why competitors get the kind of results we get, is because we're checking in with a coach. With my last coach, I checked in with him twice a week, sending photos and videos and macros and all that other stuff. So it's the checking in. It's the, how am I going to report on what I'm doing or not doing? How often am I going to look at what I'm doing and not doing and assess it and evaluate it? That's what we're doing inside the Grace and Grind Challenge. The Grace and Grind Challenge is more of a challenge of checking in than anything else. Yes, we're going to establish some habits we want to form over the 21 days. But the biggest piece of that challenge is, are you checking in? Which we are asking. All you do is do a post in the Facebook group once a day to let us know how the day went. Did you crush it? Did you do okay? Or did you not do anything, the thing you said you were going to do at all? The checking in is the most important part, because that's how you don't let yourself off the hook. So number 9, check in with yourself or somebody else or both, daily or weekly, regularly, consistently. Hey, Celeste was able to join for the tail end. Hey, mama. All right, number 10, the last one. And this is planning ahead. Getting ahead of it, as I call it. There's a question I ask with our check-ins every week, which is, what are the obstacles or challenges that you encountered this past week? What did you learn from them? And then I ask about an action plan. What is your action plan for the week ahead? And how are you going to get ahead of any obstacles this week? This is huge, y'all. I've gotten all these videos popping up on my YouTube feed about habits and New Year, right? All that stuff is going around right now. And I've listened to some of them as I'm making my coffee in the morning. And one of the things that has come up multiple times by some of the gurus in the space of habit formation, they talk about this one practice. It is considering what are the obstacles that could get in my way of this goal or this intention I have, and then what is my plan B if that happens? I love to tell you, if you are getting ready to embark on any new journey, goal, whatever it is, I want you to not have rose-colored glasses on, and because you're motivated, think it's going to be easy, and then you get into it, and as soon as it gets difficult, you jump ship. How can you get ahead of that? Literally get ahead of it by imagining every challenge or obstacle that could stop you and brainstorming your plan B, plan C, plan D. Imagine how could it go wrong and prepare yourself mentally to pivot. Pivot, pivot, pivot. You are probably going to need to do a lot more pivoting than you will ever be able to just follow the original plan, because that's life. Nothing ever goes to plan, right? So, number 10, plan ahead. Look ahead. Look at that calendaring you did and consider what could get in your way and start getting your mind ready, yourself prepared mentally to encounter challenges and overcome them. Even if none of those challenges happen, but some other obstacle gets in the way that you didn't even foresee, you've been in the practice of problem solving. So when it happens, you're much less likely to freak out and let it throw you off and say, okay, I didn't think about this one, but I did think about all those other ones. So, because I did all of that, I'm sure I could encounter this. And you just start to have more confidence in your ability to overcome challenges in the moment, even if it's not something you already thought of. So get yourself into the practice of mentally imagining how you would overcome the challenges. All right, I'm going to do one quick rundown of what all the top 10 habits were. Little summary, and then I will sign off for the night and give you all your night. Cheers to Juliana for claiming her time and setting her nighttime activity. She's ready to hop off the tech. Good night. All right, so simple, sustainable, repeatable habits are the key to getting and keeping your results. So rather than embarking on an elaborate plan or protocol or insane, crazy 75 hard challenge to get extreme results in a short period of time, this masterclass was meant to arm you with the tools to give you permission to do something radically different this time around. So here's my top 10 simple habits that you can implement that will have a dramatic effect on your progress and your results, and make it effortless to maintain those results and to continue to build on them over time, so you don't have to waste any more time going backwards and then making up for it again and again and again. Here they are. 1, establish a bedtime routine. 2, establish a morning routine. 3, have a water consumption goal. 4, protein first. Prioritize protein. 5, eat meals, not snacks. Number 6, daily activity. Increase your daily activity. Improve your daily movement. Do something to move your body every day. Number 7, resistance training, even if it is basic body weight movements. Number 8, make space and time in your calendar. Block time in your calendar for the things that are important to you, including yourself. And stop multitasking. Single task. Build in between time. Number 9, check in regularly with yourself. We can't keep that there. We'll go that way. 9. Check in regularly with yourself or a coach or a community. And number 10, plan ahead. Problem solve. And with that, that's all I have for you tonight. We went way over an hour, but that's okay. I love hanging out with y'all. Cheers to your goals in 2025. I hope that you crush it. And I hope that with this list of quick habits, maybe not so quick habits to learn and implement, but simple low-hanging fruit habits to focus on. I'll leave you with this. Remember not to try to bite off more than you can chew. Pick 1 or 2 new habits at a time. Don't try to do everything at the same time. Focus on that. Set your intention. Check in. And hey, join us inside the Grace and Grind Challenge. It's totally free. Join the Facebook group and Keto Bikini Secrets Facebook group, and you can join us for 21 days of power habits in your new year. Love y'all, and I will see you next time.